I feel like people have almost given up on politics. They think that every politician is the same, that we all talk bullshit, that none of us actually care or do anything. My mum and dad met in Queenstown. My dad was playing rugby for the West Coast Rugby Club and my mum was a nurse. And when Dad hurt his knee playing rugby, he went to the local hospital and my mum looked after him, and thankfully for me, that's where they met and that's where they fell in love. My first memory in life is being in the bath in Queenstown and the water was brown. And that's what Queenstowners remember and understand. If you got in a time machine and went back to when I was in early school, you wouldn't find a single person who would think I would be in state parliament. I had a massive stutter. I had to get special treatment up in Brisbane because I had such a bad stutter and Mum and Dad couldn't get the support I needed in Tasmania. So I literally was struggling to speak. Things have just happened over the course of the last 15 or 20 years, I guess, where I felt like I had to step up. The best person that I've got in my life is my wife, Alison, who, when I get a bit ahead of myself, she reminds me exactly who I am, exactly where I am, and she's the one that keeps me grounded, and I love that. The West Coast is known for people who are hard-working. This is the backbone of Tasmania's economy. It's where some of Tasmania's biggest projects have been built, and with a gravel oval where so many Tasmanians are proud of the way that we play hard and we play fair.
When you look at all the AFL players that do those commentaries and those interviews, and the first question, what's the hardest hill, you've ever played on? Toughest hill, and it's always Queenstown.
So sometimes in this job, you talk about numbers and you talk about facts and figures and policy, but sometimes you meet real people who tell you real stories about things that actually have happened to them. I was door knocking one day for my first election and I met a guy who was mowing his lawn, and he told me that he had been waiting for over 6 months to get in to see a specialist about the bowel cancer that he actually had. And he knew that he was dying. He knew that he needed to see a specialist, but he just couldn't get in to get the care that he needed. And so when we talk about 50,000 Tasmanians on the waiting list to see a specialist, he's one of the people. It is actually real. It is really hurting people. People just tell me nothing ever happens. They've heard it all before. They've heard them say they'd fix the health system. They've heard them say they're going to fix education. They've heard them say they're going to fix the roads. Big projects that they promise for 10 years and never deliver. People have heard it all before and they're sick of it. They decided to ban ramping in the hospitals, which just moved the problem from the ramp into the hallways and cupboards of emergency departments. This is a government that just focuses on patching up problems instead of properly fixing them. I don't know any parent that wants their children to have to leave Tasmania to go to the mainland. I don't want that for my children, and I don't think anybody wants that for young Tasmanians, but that's what's happening. Tasmania's education outcomes are the worst in the country, and that means we need to do something pretty drastic. Our kids aren't getting the best opportunities in life. We've got to improve education. Every 4 days, a plane load of young Tasmanians leaves for better opportunities on the mainland, and it's got to stop. Our population is ageing because young Tasmanians are leaving. We need young Tasmanians to be able to make the choice to stay. I just don't think the Liberals get it. I think they've lost touch. I don't think they care about Tasmanians that are living from pay to pay, struggling with the cost of living, with petrol, groceries, housing prices. Their mortgages have gone up. We're in a housing crisis, right? There's actually a desperate need for more housing. And you can't have councils that are pushing back against people who want to build homes and get things done. We need more roofs over people's heads, and it's crazy to think that you've got local governments and a state government planning scheme that are making it harder to build a home in this state. So leadership's actually about bringing people together. And sometimes it's about saying, this is the outcome I want. Your job is to deliver it. No mucking around, no making complaints. Don't tell me why it can't happen. Let's make it happen together. The leaders that I've been inspired by are leaders that have a vision and then get things done. When I was growing up, Jim Bacon had just become the Premier of Tasmania, and it was infectious, it was exciting. It was as though Tasmania had finally got ready for something incredible to happen. And he started doing these incredible things. He bought the 2 new spirits. He built Tasmania's gas pipeline. He built Basslink. We started building Australia's first wind farms, and things were happening. The economy turned around. We had the best economy anywhere in the country. Young people stopped leaving the state. It felt like we could trust him. It felt like he had the right vision for our state, and you could rely on him to get things done. That's what I was inspired by. You had somebody who had a vision, but also knew how to make it actually happen.
We had this incredible Premier, Eric Rees, who decided to build massive new hydro schemes across our state, and that meant that we got to create manufacturing jobs here and put us on the forefront of renewable energy technology all over the country.
We've got a history here of great premiers that have been building wind and hydro resources here on island, but over the last 10 years we've started saying no.
Tasmanians would be shocked to know that there isn't actually enough power here in the state for our own needs. We're importing coal and gas-fired power to keep the lights on here in Tasmania because we just haven't built enough generation here.
We've kept the hydro in public hands, and that's been so important. It's helped to pay for our hospitals and schools here in the state. I want a Tasmania where young Tasmanians want to stay, where they've got the opportunities to get safe, secure, well-paid jobs, stay here and raise their own families. And renewable energy is the start of that. We've got $25 billion worth of renewable energy capital that wants to come to our state, and we keep saying no to everything. Why are we saying no when the opportunities are so great?
I think it's time for us to go back, start building again, start building energy here in the state, creating thousands of construction jobs, and then supporting lower power prices for Tasmanian families and industry. And then help to transition the rest of the country away from coal and gas and onto clean, green, renewable Tasmanian hydro and wind power. That would be awesome.
Robbins Island Wind Farm and Whaleback Ridge will double Tasmania's renewable energy production.
So Whaleback Ridge Wind Farm, it produces the same amount of energy as everything else in Tasmania. All our other wind farms, everything else we've got. Tell you what, the boom times in your pub, mate, you'll go absolutely nuts.
I'm sick of hearing people saying no to every single development.
When I was on council, I didn't vote against a single development in 7 years. This is the old Kingston High School site. People have been talking about doing something with the site for about 10 years, and we decided to actually do something, and pretty proud of the results. When you say you're going to build Tasmania's best playground and then you actually do it, it's incredible. Not everyone is going to agree with you, and not everyone's going to agree with what I say. If I wait for a project or a policy that absolutely everyone likes, we'll never do anything. The thing we're fighting at the moment is from all the broken promises from the Liberals, like, you know, saying they're going to build a 4-lane Midland Highway, Northern Suburbs Light Rail, a Tamar Bridge. So they said Tasmania was going to be the healthiest state in Australia by 2025. We're still the least healthy. They said Tasmania's education outcomes we're going to reach the national average, and our education system is still the worst performing of any state in Australia. The thing that worries me is that people have given up hope of having a government that actually delivers, and the message for them is that Labor is ready. Labor wants to form a new government that actually gets things done, that has a vision, that has a purpose, that is determined to make things in Tasmania better, and I really believe that we can do that. At the end of the day, I just couldn't leave because I love the place and I want to make it better, and this is an opportunity for the whole state. So our team is full of experience, of energy, of optimism, and just good values, good people. So we bring together a teacher, a nurse, farmers. We've got people from all walks of life who care deeply about the state and want to try and make it better. And you can't just talk about it. We've got to actually believe, and we've got to get people to believe that things can be better, that things can change. Things don't have to be this way. We actually need to change so that we can make things better for Tasmania.